So I'm doing something a little different today. I actually have two videos I'm going to release at the same time. They're both on tonneau cover reviews. One is going to be for the Undercover Ultra Flex and the other is going to be for the BakFlip MX4. They're not really a head-to-head comparison because I didn't have both of them available to me to be able to review at the same time. However, I think you'll find the reviews helpful. I'll link the other video above. Feel free to check that one out as well. Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. On this episode of Rider in Motion, we're going to check out this BakFlip MX4 tonneau cover. Stay tuned to check it out. This tonneau cover is currently installed on a 2021 Ram 2500 with a 6.5 foot bed. Like most tonneau covers, this uses the cable release system. You pull down on the cable, it releases the two catches, and then you can simply fold that cover back. To fold the cover up, you just pull the cable down. Second fold, there is no cable hook. And then you go back to the cable poles on the third one. The poles get a little tricky on this particular truck because the frame is so high it gets really hard to reach, but it's still pretty manageable. Unlike some other truck covers, this does not have a felt or cloth covering on it. It's the hardbound. It's a little bit rough. You got to be careful. You're not, when you're driving, that's not rubbing something that could scratch underneath the cover. So there's three positions you can use this cover in. The one is with it fully closed. The second is in the position it's in now where it's about 2/3 of the way open. And to do that, there are buckles on top that you'll buckle those down and it'll hold it safely in place. Let's see how that works. Okay, with the cover folded about 2/3 of the way up, you just simply undo that buckle there. Snaps in there, pull that tight, and then it's latched on the back and hooked in the front and it won't go anywhere. So this is one of the positions. Let me show you the third position. Okay, and this is the third position. With that leaning against the cab. And the support bars on both sides holding it in place. Now this particular truck has the Ram boxes on the side, so I had a hard time finding covers that would fit, and the MX4 ended up being one of the covers that does fit with the Ram boxes. This truck also has the integrated rail cargo management system, so what they ended up doing is they ended up installing the channel right on top of that, and then they put these rain management pieces in there that funnel the water out the side of the truck and then down onto the ground. There's two in the back and there's two in the front. Now I like this system. It works really good. I just got done back from the car wash. You can see just a little tiny bit of water in the bed of the truck, and that was with me spraying all over around the seals and everything with the high pressure spray. So when it rains, I never see water in here. This system works really good for that. Now the flip side of that, of course, is these are pretty easy to knock off and they pop off. You can see actually how much water came out of there from where it had redirected it to the car wash. All right, let's take a look at the rest of the cover. This is a pretty low profile cover. It is about 1 3/4 inches thick at its thickest point where those beams are. So your height is going to be dependent on obviously the truck that you have. On this truck, I've got about 18 5/8 worth of clearance under where that foam pad is, and about 18 3/4 where that metal buckle is. So a decent amount of clearance. Okay, one of the pros on this cover is that it's actually pretty sturdy, you know. You can see me moving up and down on that. There's almost no flex at all in it. I'm pretty happy with that. So I think it's going to hold up good. It seems to be quite durable. Another thing I like about this cover is the texture finish on here. If you watched my video about the Undercover Ultra Flex, you hear me say that the guy that I bought the cover from, who sells a lot of these, he said there's kind of a trade-off. The smooth cover is a lot easier to keep clean. The dirt doesn't stick to it near as much. The problem is it's also easier to scratch. In this case, with the texture cover, it's a lot easier for the dirt to stick on there. Conversely, though, it hides scratches a lot better. It's a lot more durable. I used this as a truck, and it does get beat up a little bit. I didn't really have much of a choice because I needed a cover that would work with the Ram boxes, but I'm actually glad that this cover has the textured finish. I think that's a pro for me. Okay, another pro, and this one was huge for me, is because I have the Ram boxes, I need a cover that would work with the Ram boxes. That seal lays across the back of the Ram boxes, and I was a little concerned about how good that would work with opening and closing the boxes. So let's check that out. So I can open the box all the way. There's no restriction caused by the tonneau cover, so that's awesome. When I close the box, you'll notice that the cover mostly still sits there. There are a couple of times and in a couple of areas where it tends to tuck in a little bit. You have to be careful of that, but I find overall that works pretty good. It's not too hard to deal with. Another thing I like is the way that the cover is held up. So in this case, there's a big foam pad on the back of that, so that the cover just lays against the back of the cab. And you've got these sliders here. You just loosen these up, and then this slides up and down. You put that bar in there, and when you tighten that up, it holds that really tight against the back of the truck. I think this is a pretty good system. It keeps it out of the wind. It also makes it adjustable for your specific truck, which is kind of cool. I've driven with it in this position on a few occasions, and I've never had any problems with it moving around or rubbing or squeaking against the back of the truck cab. So I think this system works pretty good, especially with both of them in place. Pretty happy with that. Okay, let's talk about some of the things I don't like. These bars that are on here, they came with this little metal clip right here, and on that was literally just like a plastic wiring loop. I'll show you a picture of that better. But where that sat in, this side already broke. That side never stays in place. I don't know what BakFlip was thinking. That's a terrible system. The bars are always hanging around in the back of the truck. I have to use zip ties or whatever to keep them up in there. I really hate that. That's something I'm going to have to fix. And I'm really disappointed that in a company like BakFlip that sells as many covers as they do, did that. That's just really cheap and poor. And it's really a drag on a cover that otherwise is quite nice. All right, another thing that I'm not in love with is this cover's got a little bit of side-to-side flex when you fold it up, and I almost always have to shimmy it back and forth to get it to close and latch properly. It happens with tonneau covers, but it's a little frustrating. I find that this one does it a little bit more than I would like. Let's check that out. I usually have to shimmy at least the cover a little bit, only about a half an inch or so, to get one or the other sides latching. The cover seems like it's aligned, and when it's straight, there's just enough flex in the seams though to allow that to happen. So again, I find that a little frustrating. It's pretty easy to manage. Again, if it doesn't do it, you just pull the cover sideways slightly and it latches right up. But it's just something I feel like I shouldn't have to do. And when I looked at the undercover Ultraflex, I never had that problem a single time. I have that problem at least 50% of the time. Talked a little bit about the rain system before. I actually really like the rain system. It works really good, as I mentioned. I do find that this is a little hokier than I would like. These pop off pretty easy. I find I got to be careful loading stuff in and out. I've hauled brush in this a couple of times and had to be really careful not to tear those hoses up. So I'm not sure how you would really improve on that. It seems to me like they could have brought that down and had a little bit of a harder piece of pipe or something, but I understand this is also a universal fit kit. So a little bit of a love-hate relationship with that. It works really good, but I am a little concerned about the durability. Haven't had any problems at this point, but I've also only had this cover about 3 or 4 months. So we'll see how that holds up over time. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. So would I recommend this tonneau cover to somebody? Yeah, I think I would. It's actually a good cover. I'm pretty happy with it. Hey, if you like what I'm doing on this channel, please give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing. Also do home improvement, tool reviews, etc. I'll put some links up here if you want to check those videos out. Finally, to all my brothers and sisters serving in harm's way around the world, you're always in my thoughts. Be safe out there. Till next time, everybody.